what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy
Talk a little LSU football, as it was announced over the weekend that LSU has lost a defensive tackle to the transfer portal, and it's someone who actually just got on campus. It's Dylan Battle. After just 4 months on campus, he has entered the transfer portal. He's a freshman early enrollee. Look, a 3-star prospect coming out of Arlington, Texas. Nice size, 6'2", 310 pounds. You have a lot of bodies at defensive tackle, just not a ton of experience. It's something we have talked about all offseason long. I think the room will be fine if Ahmad Bro and Dominic McKinley will live up to the hype. Look, outside of them, you have Jacoby and Guillory, Shone Washington, Sydir Mitchell, Zion Williams, Walter Mathis are coming in. Brandon Brown's coming in the fall. It makes sense that someone transferred. I just didn't think it would be a freshman. But, we were talking about it a little bit during break, and Musso mentioned the fact that, he was big on Bo Davis. This was a Bo Davis guy, and I get it. Anytime there's turnover at the defensive tackle position, you expect one of the guys to leave. I thought that LSU had been fortunate. Up to this point, you didn't hear it. You hear it now. So it's unfortunate that you lose a Dylan Battle. However, this does come on the heels of LSU getting a commitment from South Florida defensive tackle Bernard Gooden. When you look at Gooden, 6'1", 280 pounds, played 27 games in college over the past 3 years. Last season at South Florida, by far his best. He had 35 tackles, 10 tackles for a loss, 1.5 sacks. Moose, you and I were kind of talking about it during break. Kelly, a couple weeks ago, right when spring wrapped up, said, I think we're good in the transfer portal, most likely, unless a big-time name enters or an immediate impact player enters the portal, then things will change. But on the surface, this kind of just looks like a depth piece, right? I mean, nothing about Bernard Gooden jumps out at you. He's a little bit undersized for the defensive tackle spot at 6'1", 285. He has played in a lot of games, but the production, it's been okay. What are your thoughts on this? Because my thing was, okay, maybe Kyle Williams likes the leaner defensive tackles, right? Because you saw under Bo Davis, you bring in Zion Williams. He's 330 pounds. You bring in Sydir Mitchell. He's massive. You got a lot of big body, run-stuffing guys in there. If Kyle Williams prefers maybe a leaner defensive tackle, maybe that's why they bring this guy in. But it's kind of not the name we maybe thought we would hear for LSU as far as a portal addition.
No, I mean, look, I think he's a really good player. I mean, this guy's a top 50 player in the transfer portal. Yeah. He was the highest uncommitted player in the transfer portal that you went out and got. So, I mean, like, he is a good player. The athleticism is obviously what's going to jump off the page. I mean, I think of Blake Baker's defense, and especially even, Kyle Williams not coaching the defensive line. Havoc is going to be something huge for them. Blake Baker talked about that during the spring when he was asked about Kyle Williams, that, you watched Kyle Williams' NFL career, and, at the time when he was finally able to get in there, start being aggressive, rushing the passer, that's where he kind of exploded and became the great NFL tackle that we all saw. And that's something that he's going to bring to LSU's defense. So I think that plays into it. My thing is, though, you already kind of have a couple of those guys. I mean, Dom McKinley is extremely athletic for his size. I mean, he's over 300 pounds.
He doesn't look it, though.
No, and he's like 3'10", 315. It's also because he's like 6'5", 6'6". He's just a huge guy. But, I mean, that's a dude who had 3 sacks for you a year ago and very limited opportunity. Like, he can create that havoc for you as well. Obviously, Ahmad Bro is similar in size to a guy like Bernard Gooden. So, I mean, I think it obviously has, traits of that. But, you can look at it and go, well, it's the experience. Okay, but with that experience hasn't necessarily come a bunch of production, maybe. I mean, it was a good season, 35 tackles, 1.5 sacks a year ago, and a few more pressures in 11 starts. But I don't know. When I thought they want to go out and add an experienced piece, I kind of had in my mind, multi-year starter at a different school, someone who can come in and play immediately for LSU along the defensive line, and especially on the interior, much like you saw them do all throughout the fall and winter portal window, where, I mean, how many times when we come here and we talk about the latest edition, it was, this is a guy who they are bringing in to start day number one. Like this, they are going out and getting guys who will immediately impact and change this defense. We could run through them on the offensive side as well as on the defensive side. So he doesn't scream that to me, but I think it's a really solid addition who's going to play and is going to help LSU. It's just head scratching because you definitely had depth. You were in search of experience. You got both here, but maybe not to one as far end of the spectrum as I think many of us thought they might go.
Yeah, and, the reason it's head-scratching to me, it's not what you said you were going to do in the transfer portal, right? You were like, hey, if there is a huge impact, I got to have him game-changing guy. Maybe he turns out to be this. Just on paper right now, it doesn't seem that way. But if you remember, last year, a lot of people kind of questioned, because you needed defensive tackle help even more so last year than you do this year. And a lot of people questioned when JVR Suggs was one of the first names on the board, right? He's from Grand Valley State, and he was a little undersized as well. Now, he was a little bit bigger than this, but JVR Suggs said about 6 foot, 6'1", right around 300 pounds. He was probably your best interior pass rusher a year ago as far as the defensive tackle spot goes. I mean, he helped you in a lot of different ways. Like, maybe they're trying to fill that role a little bit.
The problem with that, though, Taylor, is that was so situational with JVR Suggs.
I get it.
I mean, he was a third down guy. Like, he was in there on third down.
Maybe Bernard Gooden's a third down guy.
But is that really? But that's not what you were looking like. That's where I'm with you. Where I'm like, that's not really what it sounded like you were after. So I don't know. It's a little bit of a mixed reaction because it's not like I think Gooden's a bad player. He's not. He's a top 50 player in the portal, and he's gonna help you. It's just not really the direction I thought they would go there. Because I mean, I think the Suggs comparison is a great one, but even he was a third down pass rusher for you.
I don't want to be negative any more than we already are, but maybe this says a lot about what they think of their interior pass rushers on their team. I mean, Maybe that's where they're at. Maybe they were like, hey, we wanted Bro and McKinley to take that next step because McKinley showed flashes. He was great. He wasn't an every down player. Bro, everyone thought, hey, he's going to get better. He played out of position last year. He's transferring in. I mean, he had to gain, 45 pounds just to get on the field at defensive tackle. Maybe he hasn't taken the next step you thought he would. Maybe you just need immediate help there. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but I mean, maybe that's the thought right now.
Okay, I mean, if that's the thought, then fine. I mean, that's the thing. We're sitting here talking about it. We have to let it all play out. But no, I mean, the team is in a great spot. The roster is in a great spot. Yeah. It's the best one Brian Kelly has ever had. And this does help that as well. It's just the move feels like a bit of a head scratcher because it's not necessarily where they looked like they were going there. But I mean, I'll tell you the thing that's been most impressive to me, Taylor, is the buy-in that you've seen. I mean, because it's one thing for Brian Kelly to get on a microphone at a press conference and say, he wouldn't be surprised if nobody leaves. Because, I mean, it's like, okay, easy. Like, look at the state of college athletics that we're in. People are always going to leave, even when you don't expect it. But, I mean, if you come out of this with 3 guys entering the portal, and really you can count it as 2 because we knew John Emery was already going in there because Brian Kelly.
Yeah, you weren't counting on him.
Kelly, 2 weeks before that happened, said, we're set at running back. That was his quote. We're set at running back. So, really, if you lose Javen Nicholas and you lose Dylan Battle, that speaks to the buy-in that is happening in that building right now, and you brought in the right guys in the portal. And I think Bernard Gooden absolutely factors into that. It's just not like if you would have told me, and again, not that his resume is bad, but if you would have told me that, okay, they're going to bring in Bernard Gooden out of the portal before everything started, I'd have been like, okay, that's just not the type of resume I thought they were looking for. Not to say he can't help the team. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will.
No, hey, it's to your point. Like, that's not even the position I really thought they were going to go because I actually kind of like the depth at defensive tackle right now. Like, I know everybody's like, oh, you're kind of unproven there. I think there's a lot of talent in that room. Like, okay, for example, there's a guy in the portal right now, A.J. Halsey. He's a safety out of Houston. Everyone's after him. There are no reports that LSU is after him right now. But let me tell you what A.J. Halsey has done. First off, I think safety is the biggest question mark on your team right now. Outside of Tamarcus Cooley, I think there's a big question mark. Now, Sean Spears, he showed flashes. Javian Toviano, he's finally moving to safety full time. You still have, some young guys in that room. You have Jordan Gilbert coming back, and then C.J. Jim Coyley and Jacob Bradford are coming in the fall. A.J. Halsey, 36 games over 3 years. Look what he did last year at Houston. 74 tackles, 5 interceptions. That's a guy you add that could start right away. That's a guy, for whatever reason, has not been linked to LSU yet. Not to say that LSU's not doing work behind the scenes, but when you look, like, Ole Miss is on commitment watch for him. Alabama's on commitment watch for him. A lot of SEC teams. LSU's a name that hasn't been mentioned a ton. Like, a guy like that is maybe where I thought LSU would go, not necessarily a defensive tackle.
Wow, Jake, What incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.